It's Marvel Mayhem. Marvel Mayhem. Welcome to Marvel Mayhem, a series where I embark on the colossal task of reviewing every movie and every television show produced that has been based on a Marvel property. Today, it's Howard the Duck. I unapologetically love this movie. This is not a case of it's so bad, it's good. This movie exists beyond the human limitations of good and bad. It is not a movie. It is a cinematic phenomenon. Trying to rate this movie would be like trying to rate a volcano. A volcano does not need your human rating system. Neither does Howard the Duck. Many people may say that Howard the Duck is not only one of the worst Marvel movies, but one of the worst movies ever. They lie. It's awesome. I really mean that. The film centers around the character of Howard the Duck. He is enjoying a nice evening after a hard day's work when he and his armchair are sucked through space by a giant laser from Earth. He crash lands into Cleveland and is introduced in the most traumatic way possible to the human race. He saves a woman from an assault and becomes trauma bonded with her. They discover, with the help of a friend, that Howard has been brought to Earth as the result of an experiment carried out by a Professor Jennings. When Jennings tries to send Howard back, the Dark Overlords hijack the signal and try to invade Earth. Howard must rescue the love of his life and destroy the only chance he has at returning home. The great thing about this movie is that it is so out of pocket. The first few minutes of the film include images I have been trying an entire lifetime to process. The film establishes that Howard lives on a planet of ducks by showing us duck actors, duck neighbors, and bizarrely, one right after the other, shots of a magazine called Play Duck that includes full frontal nudity with breasts, and then a quick shot of a duck enjoying a bath who also has breasts. If you failed biology, let me just refresh your memory. Breasts are used to produce milk. Milk is a food which is produced by mammals to feed their babies. Mammals are the only animals that produce milk, and so they are the only animals with breasts. To be clear, ducks are not mammals. They are birds, and therefore do not have breasts. So Howard arrives on Earth, and the next odd thing about the movie starts to happen. The narrative says that what is fantasy on one planet would be reality on another. This concept not only applies to different planets in this film, but also the random characters Howard meets. Some people think he's a kid in a duck suit. Some people want immediately to straight up murder him. Others just scream in abject terror because they have seen a 4-foot-tall duck. One falls in love with him, but more on that later. None of the characters are just shocked that a duck can talk. One lady in a great scene says that Howard can't let his unconventional appearance prevent him from having a job. Beverly, who is the woman he trauma bonds with, is an aspiring rock star. She and Howard have more chemistry together than a lot of characters who are thrown together in movies, and she wasn't even acting with the actor who does the voice. That came after the film was finished. She's played by Leah Thompson and feels like the most innocent, kind-hearted lady in cinema history. Why? Because she falls in love with a duck. So let's talk about that part now. People have criticized this movie for decades now by saying that it's bestiality adjacent. But let's just stop and think a moment why bestiality is wrong. It's wrong because an animal can never say no or yes to you. It's all about consent. They can't consent. But Howard is not an animal, or at least he's not an earth duck. He's an alien. It's kind of like Captain Kirk having relations with green women on alien planets. So why don't we judge Kirk like generations have judged Howard and Beverly? It's a shame, I tell ya. A low down, dirty shame. All right, now let's discuss Howard for a little bit. He was played by multiple performers, but Chip Zane does the voice. Yes, he looks very creepy with his dead eyes and his weird rubbery feet, but he has a few redeeming qualities. One, he seems to have the same superpower that Marty McFly has, which is when he gets angry, he is a 4-foot feathered terror. On my planet, we don't say die, we say kill. Despite the disturbing amount of duck puns, he still seems to be a believable character. He's a regular guy, duck, thrust into very odd circumstances. Rounding out the cast are two characters that make the film even more chaotic. Tim Robbins plays the most over-the-top character in a movie about a talking man duck, and he's just a janitor at a museum. Jeffrey Jones plays Jennings, the scientist who becomes possessed by a dark overlord, and I think maybe some casting directors felt an odd vibe from him because he played so many of these vaguely sinister characters in the 1980s and turned out to be completely sinister in real life. His character does get one of the best lines in the movie when Howard is about to be murdered by a bunch of yokels at a Cajun sushi place. And no, I didn't misspeak. It's a Cajun sushi place. And Beverly says, "They can't kill him. He's my favorite duck." And Jennings says, "But you just met him." Great line delivery. And like, what does that imply? That Beverly knows some other ducks that she's being unfair to? The first 2/3 of the film are all about how Howard adjusts or fails to adjust to life on Earth. And the last third is this classic 1980s sci-fi romp with grotesque aliens from outer space, great makeup, and great practical effects. The scene where Professor Jennings uses his claw tentacle to get more power from the truck is visceral and disgusting. The music in this masterpiece goes hard because it never realizes it's providing the inspirational background for the tale of a talking duck. But how did this masterpiece come to life? While several Marvel characters had been on the small screen in the 1970s, like the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man, this film in 1986 was the first theatrical release based on a Marvel character since Captain America had done a series of serial films in 1944. Universal Films wanted to do this project because they had previously passed on some other George Lucas projects that had gone on to become very successful, like Star Wars, for example. Originally, it was supposed to be an animated film, but it was thought that it could be done cheaper with live action and using the special effects from Industrial Light and Magic. And plus, George Lucas also had a contractual obligation to provide a live action film to the distributor. The only other interesting things, like trivia-wise, connected to the movie are that they changed the character of Howard a lot. So they made him more kid-friendly, which is weird because it's not quite a kid's movie also, but they changed him from being like not a nice character. They made him nicer basically. And the other interesting thing was that Robin Williams was originally cast to play the voice of Howard the Duck, but his improvisational style didn't really gel well with the fact that when they were making the movie, they couldn't make the mouth move very much. So the performance had to be a lot toned down, and Robin Williams just couldn't do it. One of the great what ifs about this movie is, what if Robin Williams did voice Howard the Duck? It's still a great film, but that would have been much, much crazier. So I really love this film, but I think that I will leave you on a positive review from the film when it came out, because you can find a lot of negative reviews, but this is a positive review from John Nubbin, who reviewed the film in Different Worlds when it came out. Nor should one try and drag high consequence into a film obviously designed to be nothing more than entertaining. Howard the Duck is not Rambo in feathers. There is no ideology being pressed to the fore here. The movie was meant to make a few wry observations about human behavior and to give everyone a few laughs and a good time. It did this in spades. Anyone who missed the point, who could look past the good-natured fun being had and see plots to twist our children or turn them into zoophilous little monsters, had better slow down and take a vacation. Howard the Duck was only a comedy, a fast-moving, rollicking barnstorm of a comedy. Nothing more and nothing less. See it when you can. All right, and I'll leave you with that, but please, if you like my reviews, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of April. So thank you very much, and talk to you next time.